Chapter 1. The Perfect Illusion. In the small town of Maplewood, where secrets whispered on the wind, Emma and Jason Parker seemed like the perfect couple. They were childhood sweethearts, celebrated at every social gathering for their enviable bond. Emma was a striking woman, with flowing chestnut hair and emerald eyes that sparkled with mischief. Jason, a tall, athletic man with a carefree laugh, was considered the town's golden boy. Together they had built a life filled with love, laughter, and an oak tree that stood monumental in their backyard, a witness to their dreams. But behind closed doors, their lives were beginning to unravel. Unbeknownst to Jason, Emma had begun an illicit affair with Mark, a charming new co-worker who had ignited a spark in her heart she thought she'd lost. Mark was everything Jason wasn't: spontaneous, adventurous, and roguishly handsome. Their rendezvous blossomed into the kind of passion Emma had only read about in novels, plastering over the cracks that had begun to appear in her marriage. One warm summer night, as they met under the veil of darkness at a secluded lake, Emma felt a rush of exhilaration. "This feels so right," she told Mark, as they held hands and watched the stars shimmer like diamonds overhead. But even as they shared whispered promises and stolen kisses, a ghost of guilt lingered in Emma's mind. Jason, her loving husband, was blissfully unaware. She'd perfected the act of the devoted wife, her cheery demeanor a stark contrast to her secret life. As the weeks rolled into months, the illusion tightened around Emma, stifling her with anxiety. Jason thrived on his career and planned future adventures, blissfully ignorant of the storm brewing just beneath their picturesque surface. One fateful afternoon, upon returning home unexpectedly, Jason caught a glimpse of a suspicious text on Emma's phone. "Can't wait to see you tonight. Just us." His heart plummeted, and a sense of betrayal erupted like a storm within him. Jason felt trapped as he confronted Emma. He laid the phone down between them like a bomb, waiting for the inevitable explosion. "Who's Mark?" he asked, his voice strained. In that moment, all of Emma's carefully curated lies seemed to shred into pieces, scattering like fall leaves in a gusting wind. "Jason, she stammered, unable to weave a sentence together in the face of such raw honesty. "We'll talk about this later," Jason interrupted. The look in his eyes was far from anger. It was heartbreak, a profound sense of loss that shook Emma to her core. Feeling the weight of her choices press heavily against her chest, Emma retreated to the living room, heart pounding, in a way she hadn't felt in years. Jason remained in the kitchen, alone amid the remnants of their lives, while thoughts raced through his mind. He understood now that everything he cherished had been a carefully constructed facade. Trapped in betrayal, Jason vowed to muster every ounce of his resolve to navigate this emotional battlefield. Days passed in an unbearable silence. Emma found herself torn between the thrill of forbidden love and the agony of betrayal that now enveloped her home life. Jason's quiet sadness drove her further into Mark's arms, blissfully ignorant of the tempest brewing inside her husband's mind. Each stolen moment with Mark felt like chasing freedom, while each moment at home became a prison sentence. Yet, in the shadow of deceit, Jason was plotting his own course, one that would shatter Emma's worlds entirely. Chapter 2. Unseen Vengeance. The aftershocks of betrayal left an indelible mark on Jason. Days morphed into weeks, and each morning he woke hoping it had all been a nightmare, only to be greeted by the reality that Emma's treachery had tangled itself into the very fabric of their lives. Yet instead of wallowing in despair, something dark and determined began to kindle inside him. He would not be the victim here. He would reclaim his narrative. As Emma continued her affair with Mark, Jason decided to play the long game. He appeared to be compliant, even supportive, masking his pain with an unflagging facade. He enrolled in a local gym, begun spending more time with friends, and even signed up for a photography class to distract himself, all while keeping a careful eye on Emma and Mark's affair. His friend and fellow gym-goer, Matt, was quick to notice Jason's subtle changes. "You seem different, man. More focused," Matt observed one evening, clapping him on the shoulder as they stood by the weights. "Thinking of a big life change?" Just getting my life in order, Jason replied, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. He had a plan, a methodical approach towards his desired revenge. With an intense focus, Jason began documenting Emma's trysts. Each night she would leave for girls' nights with fabricated excuses. Jason would patiently wait, taking notes, snapping photographs whenever he could. The thrill of gathering evidence, the feeling of empowerment made him feel alive again. Instead of being consumed by despair, he was sharpening his resolve, aware that when the time was right, the truth would unfold in a spectacular manner. Meanwhile, Emma found herself ensnared in a whirlwind of deception. The double life she led took its toll. The excitement of hiding the affair began to dull, making her cynical and paranoid. Mark was understanding at first, but soon he started pressuring her for more time together. "I don't want to be your secret, Emma. I want you to choose," he insisted one night, the fire of passion in his emerald eyes now mixed with an underlying frustration. Emma desperately wished she could extricate herself from the web of lies, but she didn't know how. As his heartache turned into cold resolve, Jason devised a plan that would deal a blow to both Emma and Mark. He had discovered that Mark had a reputation for being a relentless seducer, a dramatic fact that would soon become pivotal. Jason reached out to a private investigator, a weathered woman named Lydia, known for her adeptness at uncovering infidelities. They met in a dimly lit cafe, discussing nuances and details over steaming mugs of coffee. Lydia listened carefully to Jason's story and agreed to help. "You don't want to just expose them, you want it to hurt." "I can help you with that," she said, her voice low and steady. They began discussing logistics, the best way to catch Emma and Mark together, ensuring indisputable evidence that would rattle the very foundation of their existence. A part of Jason relished the idea of seeing Emma's facade crumble beneath his revelations, but another part felt anxious about the inevitable fallout. The stage was set. Jason was determined to catch them red-handed, and he had an uncanny sense that their next encounter was just around the corner. Finally, the date was set. Emma had planned to spend the weekend away, ostensibly for a friend's trip. Jason, however, knew exactly where she would be: Mark's apartment. With everything in place and his heart racing, Jason felt resolute. Chapter 3: The Sting. The weekend arrived with an unsettling tension hanging in the air. Jason, fueled by the desires for revenge and resolution, had spent the days leading up to it double-checking every detail of his plan. He had worked with Lydia to gain intel on Mark's schedule, finally pinpointing a low-key Friday night when Emma wouldn't be able to resist inviting him over. With his plan established, Jason took the day off work under the guise of being unwell. He didn't want any interruptions on this night. While the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of crimson and lavender, Jason felt a strange mixture of exhilaration and anxiety fluttering in his stomach. As he laid low in the car outside Mark's apartment building, he replayed the upcoming confrontation in his mind. He'd storm in just as Emma and Mark were indulging in their fantasies, camera in hand to capture the moment of betrayal, sealing both their fates. Deep down, as the adrenaline surged through his veins, he couldn't help but feel that such an act would liberate him, setting him free from the binding chains of dishonesty that had ensnared him for months. Hours crept by as darkness enveloped the city. At precisely 8:30, he watched helplessly as Emma's car pulled into the parking lot. She stepped out, the glow of the streetlights illuminating her face, and in that moment, Jason felt a pang of sadness. The vibrant woman he once loved seemed to be fading before him, consumed by greed and desire. Shaking his head to clear his thoughts, he focused on the task at hand. Jason climbed out of his car and stealthily made his way around to Mark's apartment, taking care to stay hidden in the shadows. He positioned himself behind a large potted bush, where he had an unobstructed view of the entrance. As Emma rang the doorbell, Jason readied his phone. The seconds felt like hours as he anticipated the explosive moment that was about to unfold. Mark opened the door with a bright smile, pulling Emma close for a kiss that made Jason's blood boil. The two exchanged sweet nothings before Mark led Emma inside. He could hear their laughter echoing through the thin walls. A sound that was once music to his ears now felt like a piercing arrow. In a flurry of bitter emotions, Jason reached for his camera, taking capture after capture as evidence of their betrayal. He was living in a real-life drama, one that he could not control but was determined to watch unfold. But just as he was about to confront them, a nagging doubt began to creep into his mind. What if Emma had changed? What if this affair was merely a phase, a desperate cry for help amidst a mundane life? But the moment his camera shutter clicked again, capturing Emma nestled in Mark's arms, he released the doubt. This was about dignity, about reclaiming his narrative. Emma needed to pay for what she had done, and Jason was going to make sure it was a lesson she would never forget. Feeling momentous, Jason took a step forward towards the entrance, but his phone buzzed in an unexpected flash, cutting through the tension of the moment. An alert from Lydia. Found some more details about Mark. This will add salt to the wound. Call me when you can. He hesitated, glancing back towards the apartment, as if torn between the thrilling crescendo of betrayal unraveling and what Lydia might have uncovered. But he was hell-bent on his revenge and opted to ignore the phone, intent on thrusting himself into the confrontation. With a forsaken sense of purpose, he approached the door, ready to burst in and expose their infidelity. Just as he reached for the handle, he heard laughter trickle through the threshold, punctuated by a soft whimper, Emma's voice. Jason's heart raced, merging excitement with rage. But before he could enter, a sudden thought struck him. What if revealing the affair to her didn't deliver the blow he desired? What if, in that moment, she craved absolution more than punishment? The realization hit him like a wave. Emma, confronted at her lowest, might just plead for another chance, and flay him with guilt in retribution. Well, this had to be final. Jason stepped back, his breath hitching in his throat as he continued recording their moment of bliss without revealing his presence. It was audiovisual evidence that would crush Emma's heart when she faced her choices head-on. As he peered through the window, he caught sight of the two, Mark pulling out a bottle of wine and glasses, while Emma giggled like a schoolgirl. It was all so painfully intimate, a paradise built on a foundation of deception. Yet something strange happened in that moment. Jason felt an unexpected shift. He wasn't just witnessing betrayal. He was rediscovering a part of himself, one that longed for validation, for the confidence he once had before it was stripped away. But just as he was lost in the mix of resentment and vindication, the room fell silent. Jason's heart raced. He had lost track of time, and for a brief second, he caught a glimpse of their reflection in the window, Mark's arms wrapping around Emma's waist. That tiny moment turned the light of Jason's resolve into a beacon of everything he felt led to this very point. His heart sank further as he realized the depth of his own hurt, and yet, like a switch flicking in his mind, a revelation bolted through him. Instead of telling Emma about her betrayal, he would let her discover the truth, to experience the moment when she'd inevitably have to reconcile her own darkness. Just then, he spotted movement from the corner of his eye. Another figure appeared, sliding down the hallway towards the apartment. It was Lydia. The woman had been tailing him all along, unpredictably arriving to complete a mission of her own. Chapter 4. The Incidental Confrontation. Jason froze, barely able to process Lydia's unexpected arrival. She seemed to weave through shadows effortlessly, her presence imposing yet somehow comforting in the chaotic storm that filled his heart. Had she come to back him up, or had he unknowingly led her to crash his plan? Lydia approached, her keen eyes scanning the environment, taking in the softly glowing apartment where the laughter of his betrayer still echoed. "I can't believe you actually came here," she whispered, a smirk tugging at her lips. "I figured you'd be too much of a coward." "Coward?" he bristled, gripping the camera tightly. "I'm not hiding. I'm here to confront them. Or to soak in their fantasy," Lydia countered, crossing her arms. "Letting yourself watch them revel in something you once had." She glanced back at the window. "That's vulnerability, Jason. You have to decide if you want to stay in the shadows or stand radiant in your own authenticity. The words struck a nerve, but he was still lost in his own grief. What are you doing here? He asked instead, deflecting. I thought you were supposed to gather evidence. I did, she replied, pulling out a folder from her bag. Found some incriminating stuff on Mark. But first we need to talk about your intentions. This isn't just about revenge. It's about how you want to move on. He rolled his eyes, but his heartbeat faltered at the weight of her observation. Moving on requires closure, he shot back, unable to shake the bitter edge from his voice. Seeing Emma with Mark had awakened something primal within him, a need for justice, to balance the scales tipped so cruelly by her infidelity. That's true, Lydia agreed, her tone softening. But revenge can't fill the void. Look, she held up the folder. This isn't only about your pain. It's a matter of dignity for both of you. Jason's eyes flickered between Lydia and the scene unfolding behind the delicate window. Mark was now pouring wine into the glasses, and Emma's laughter danced through the room like music. He was consumed with rage, but amidst it emerged something else. Curiosity that intertwined with the memories he thought he had buried. The warmth of Emma's smile, countless moments of shared laughter, the promise of a future he had envisioned with her. What do you suggest? He finally asked, his voice a low murmur. Deep down, he wanted to believe Lydia was right, but the thought of exacting revenge still coursed through him like a tightening coil. It was as if the world fell silent. Every suppressed emotion surged within him, poised for release. There was no hiding now. He had been outed, the facade stripped away as he stood at the very precipice of revelation. Surprised to see me, Jason spoke, his voice steady, filled with an unexpected calm. I thought it was time you both faced the consequences of your choices. Jason, Emma exclaimed, rushing toward the door, her features reflecting a mix of anger and plea. This isn't what it looks like. You shouldn't be here. But the hurricane had been unleashed. Isn't it? He shot back bitterly. Every whisper, every stolen moment. And you think I'd just let you walk away with your excuses? Is this some kind of joke? Mark interjected, stepping protectively in front of Emma. You've been stalking us. Pathetic. Pathetic. His voice dripped with sarcasm. Funny coming from someone who claims to love another man's wife. Emma opened her mouth, struggling to find the right words, her facade cracking like the glass she had shattered just moments before. Let me show you what pathetic truly looks like, Jason declared, pulling out his camera and flashing the images Lydia had compiled. The air crackled with tension as he held up the photographs, evidence of Mark's pattern of deceit laid bare. You thought this was a game. You've ruined more lives than you know. The room fell into an ominous silence as Mark's bravado faltered, and Emma's expression began to change. A mournful realization eclipsed her defiant stance. You're lying, she gasped, but it lacked conviction. I'm lying. You can tell me that when your heart is still beating. Jason shot back, adrenaline pumping through his veins, a vindication he craved. I didn't mean to hurt you, Emma implored, tears of confusion mingling with shame as she grappled with each emotion surfacing from within. I thought. Jason held his ground, feelings of empowerment settling within him. You thought this was a fairy tale, Emma? I won't be your collateral damage any longer. Suddenly, Lydia stepped forward, her presence palpable amidst the suffocating tension. You need to confront your choices and not just fight like children, she stated. This is about recognition. The truth always emerges. Mark, cornered, finally sank against the wall. His bravado peeled away. You've got no proof. You're just bitter, he spat, but the edge was gone, the facade crumbling under their scrutiny. No proof, Jason echoed, not backing down. I have everything I need. For a moment, all eyes were on Emma, who stood frozen, caught between the remnants of her crumbling world and the very real consequences. Jason could almost see the wheels turning in her head, whether she would choose to remain in denial or finally confront the abyss of her actions. Jason, she said softly, trying to break through the chaos. What do you want? In that instant, Jason realized he didn't just want revenge. He wanted liberation. Liberation for himself, for Emma, and for everyone trapped in the cycle of betrayal. I want you to see what you've become, he replied, his tone softer, yet still charged with urgency. You have to face the truth, both of our truths. Emma's eyes softened. The rigorous facade began to dissolve, revealing a glimpse of the woman he once loved. I'm sorry, she whispered, her voice cracking, vulnerability spilling over in torrents. I never wanted to hurt you. I was lost. The truth hung thick in the air, suffocating yet palpable, as the fragmented pieces of their shared past began to shift. Jason held the weight of their despair but also the power of revelation. The moment swelled, teetering between destruction and healing. Fix this, he finally said. His gaze steady and resolute, not just for himself, but for the path they all needed to take. Embrace the truth and own your choices, Emma. I'm ready to walk away if you accept this chapter in its entirety. Now. Chapter 5. A New Dawn. Jason stood firm as the gravity of his ultimatum settled in the room, the air thick with unspoken words and raw emotions. Emma was at a crossroads, and the silence was deafening. Each breath she took felt like a plea for the right choice, for redemption where shame had planted deep roots. She began, faltering as the camera's flash illuminated memories both bittersweet and unsettling. I didn't want this to happen. I lost myself somewhere, and I'm so sorry for everything. Tears brimmed at the corners of her eyes, shimmering in the dim light, threatening to spill over. Mark shifted restlessly, still reeling from the unexpected shift in power dynamics. You really think you can blackmail us? He challenged, though his voice lacked its former bite, a tremor worming its way into his bravado. This won't end well for you. Blackmail? Jason echoed, incredulous. This isn't about revenge anymore. It's about understanding the consequences of your actions. He pointed toward Emma. She deserves to know the truth about you, who she's really with. You can manipulate her, but you can't erase what you've done. The tension in Mark's posture sagged a little further, his stance wavering under Jason's scrutiny. He avoided Jason's gaze, focusing instead on Emma, who was searching for meaning in the chaotic tableau unfolding before her. Jason, Emma pleaded, stepping closer. Please just tell me what you want. I can't handle this right now. Her voice trembled as her vulnerability surfaced, and the force of it struck Jason, filling him with a mixture of pity and resolve. To start, Jason said, his tone softening, you need to be honest with yourself. This affair isn't love. It's a distraction from your dissatisfaction. We used to dream together. How did we let it slip away? Emma's face contorted with anguish, memories scrambling through the cracks of her heart. I thought I could find happiness elsewhere. I was running away from us, she admitted, her voice barely a whisper. Running doesn't liberate you, Lydia chimed in, her voice calm yet firm. It only delays your truth. Escape won't solve the losses. There's a reckoning that you must face. Jason nodded, bolstered by Lydia's wisdom. He had stepped into the fire, willing to battle for both his peace and Emma's clarity, or at least to help her grasp that clarity for herself. Use this opportunity to pull all the layers back, he urged. You need to confront what made us drift apart. As if struck by a revelation, Mark suddenly spoke up, his tone desperate. Look, I'm not proud of the things I've done. I thought I could give her something you couldn't, but all I've done is ruin everything. Jason's jaw tightened at Mark's admission, but a flicker of understanding emerged. It was difficult to let go of resentment, but perhaps this was the moment for everyone, an intersection where understanding could pave a new way. Emma hesitated, her brow furrowed in turmoil. It's easy to blame others, isn't it, Mark? She shot back, yet a hint of empathy clung to her words. But I won't let you send me into despair. I have to be the one to confront my regrets and the choices I've made. With such raw vulnerability exposed, a shared silence washed over them as Emma bravely shifted her focus toward Jason. She searched for empathy in his eyes, hoping to find a bridge that would guide her back to some semblance of connection. "I want to apologize, Jason," she said, her voice steadying. "You were never the issue. I lost who I was, and I dragged you into my mess. I need to accept that." Jason's heart tremored at her acknowledgement. Vulnerability had a way of breaking down defenses. It allowed honesty to breathe. "We can't repair what is broken overnight, but accepting it is the first step," he replied, letting a sliver of compassion seep into his voice. Emma nodded, tears cascading down her cheeks as clarity began to emerge from the chaos. "I will fix this, starting with facing the truth of what happened between Mark and me," she said resolutely, her expression transforming with newfound determination. The electric tension shifted to a soft, reluctant understanding as Mark's shoulders slumped at Emma's admission, understanding dawning in his own eyes. He had felt emboldened by their illicit connection, but the reality of the situation had clawed its way to the surface. Perhaps it was time to face his own accountability as well. "Maybe we all need to find the truth for our own sakes," Mark murmured, staring into the distance, realizing that accepting their choices was the path to healing, perhaps even redemption. "Maybe," Jason replied, not wanting to engage in forgiveness just yet. Instead, he focused on Emma. "But only if you mean it, Emma. Discover what you're ready to reclaim, and move forward with the truth. Let it guide you." As Mark stepped back, emotions swirling around them like debris caught in a maelstrom, Jason caught a moment of raw clarity. This was not just about betrayal and heartache. It was about unearthing their shared past, confronting the pain and loss, and reshaping the future that lay ahead, whether they would walk it together or apart. Jason's heart softened as he observed Emma's quiet strength begin to resurface, each trembling admission crystallizing into a resolve that had lain dormant for far too long. Acceptance unfolded like a fragile flower, pushing through the cracks of their past. "Will you take me back?" Emma asked suddenly, her voice steadier, though uncertainty flitted across her features. "Will you allow me to show you I'm willing to make things right?" Jason paused. It was a question that rippled through him. The past had left scars, but the way forward hummed with possibility. "I don't know if I can go back," he replied honestly, eyes reflecting the weight of the moment. "But if you truly want to change, I am willing to give you the space to prove it. It'll take time. Trust needs rebuilding, but maybe we can work toward something, together or apart. I'll make my decision based on our sincerity moving forward." With that, a new understanding flickered between them. Redemption wouldn't be instantaneous. It would require patience and vulnerability, but acknowledging their shared humanity was the first step on that unpaved road. Lydia observed quietly, a sense of fulfillment washing over her. She had always believed in the potential of people to change, and witnessing this moment of clarity being born from the ashes of betrayal bolstered her own unwavering faith in the power of truth. "I'm proud of both of you," she said softly, offering a supportive smile. "This is the beginning, not just for you two, but for all of us." As Emma glanced at Mark and then back to Jason, a profound silence enveloped the trio, a silence filled with raw possibility. They were on uncharted territory, but they were going there together, having acknowledged the complexities of their individual stories. In the distant core of the city, the vibrancy of life continued, the heartbeats of countless lives pulsing in tandem with their own, each choice echoing with the promise of change, of growing from the ashes and reclaiming what had once seemed lost. "Let's take it one day at a time," Jason suggested eventually, the ember of hope kindling within him as he walked away from the triumph of confrontation and towards the unknowing horizon, where healing awaited them all. Together, they faced the dawn of what could become, stepping away from the chaos of their past, savoring the precious, complicated promise of tomorrow. Chapter 6. A new chapter. The following days unfolded like the delicate petals of a blooming flower, each carrying its own nuances, shapes, and fragrances. Jason found himself at a crossroads, wrestling with a medley of emotions as he contemplated the upheaval in his life. As he navigated the complexities of healing, Lydia became a steadfast ally, guiding him toward clarity amidst the turmoil. In the aftermath of the confrontation, Emma approached the challenge of facing Mark and Jason with newfound resolve. At first, their communication was sporadic, cracked like ice on a winter lake and laced with uncertainty, but gradually, a thread began to weave itself through their conversations, a tentative commitment to honesty. One afternoon, sitting at their favorite cafe, a place that had not felt safe since everything had unraveled, Jason nervously traced the rim of his coffee cup with his finger, considering how to breach the subject they had typically danced around. "So, what's next for you?" he asked hesitantly, looking up to meet Emma's gaze, searching for that flicker of authenticity where remorse mingled with hope. Emma tilted her head slightly, a nervous smile forming on her lips. "I've been thinking about that a lot. I think I need to find my own footing again. Reclaim my sense of self. It was so easy to lose sight of who I was through this." Her admission made Jason's heart ache. He wished he could erase the past and shelter her from the choices she had made, yet at the same time, he felt a sense of admiration. "That sounds like a good path," he encouraged. "What does that look like for you?" "It means reevaluating my priorities," she replied, her voice stabilizing with newfound courage. "I want to volunteer more, get back to writing, maybe even travel a little, even if it's just weekend trips. I need experiences that ground me and help me remember who I am outside of relationships." The notion of her independence warmed something within Jason, a flicker of hope. "I think that's a beautiful plan," he said, allowing a small smile to creep onto his face. "I need to do the same for myself. I feel lost too." Their dialogue opened a window of vulnerability between them, and as weeks went by, they gradually stitched together the pieces of their past while forging ahead. Conversations transformed. They delved deep into the layers of their lives, facing both joyful recollections and sorrowful perspectives. Meanwhile, Mark remained a shadowy figure in their lives, an echo of past mistakes. His attempts at reconciliation took form as half-hearted gestures, stacks of messages void of sincerity, but Jason remained firm on the distance he needed to establish. Emma, too, demonstrated clarity regarding her connection to Mark, expressing her disinterest in rekindling anything that had once burned brightly. "I appreciate him as a part of my past, but I can't afford to hold on to discomfort," she explained one evening as they sat on the balcony, the sun setting in a blaze of orange and pink. "It's time to learn from it and move on." And move on they did, exploring their individuality. A shared sense of purpose emerged as they ventured into their separate lives but remained steady in their commitment to each other. They often shared updates, both mundane and profound, via texts and phone calls, fostering an environment of support and growth. One weekend, they both took the plunge into individual adventures. Emma ventured on a solo road trip down the coast, filling her journal with reflections and creative sparks ignited by the open road. Jason found solace in the art studio downtown, rekindling his passion for photography, capturing moments of fleeting beauty that stirred his heart. As he spent more time behind the camera, he uncovered a sense of joy he had long since forgotten. Editing photos became therapeutic, a means of processing emotions and reclaiming his artistic identity. The lens, in its simplicity, began to reveal the raw essence of moments right before him, each click a testament to his growth. One day, as Jason was sifting through his captured moments, he stumbled upon a candid shot of Emma from their happier times, when life had felt untroubled, like spring was in full bloom. The photo stirred a tumult of emotions but also illuminated the path they had traversed and how far they had come. It shifted his perspective. Both their journeys contained beauty and depth, colored by flaws but also by love. Realizing he couldn't ignore his feelings any longer, Jason reached for his phone and sent Emma a text. "Found a photo of us from summer. Brought back so many good memories. I miss that joy." A moment later he hit send, daring the universe to respond. A soft ping echoed back almost instantly. "Me too," Emma replied. "That joy is still there. Just different now." That evening, they both attended an art show where Jason showcased some of his newly edited photographs, wading through the eclectic crowd of fellow artists and admirers. Emma stood by his side, pride illuminating her features, as they both engaged in conversations that felt liberating, no longer bound by past shadows. "You've captured something really special here," she complimented, her eyes glimmering with sincerity, as she pointed toward a photograph encapsulating the golden hues of sunset bathing the ocean in light. "It's these moments that remind us how beautiful life can be." Their exchange sparked a deep connection, laden with shared memories and fresh aspirations. And there, in the gallery, surrounded by vibrant color and the hum of creativity, Jason felt a shift beneath the surface of their connection, a soft awakening to possibility. "Maybe joy can manifest between us again," he thought, his heart hesitating as he ventured into the realm of hope and uncertainty. One evening, as they both sat on the balcony once more, sipping wine, embracing the warmth of the setting sun, Jason hesitated. "Emma," he began, his voice steady yet laced with uncertainty, "I think we've both changed, grown into healthier versions of ourselves. What do you think happens now?" She looked at him, eyes brimming with understanding. This feels different. Feels healthy. I want to explore this, whatever this is. I'm not asking for a promise, only an openness to see where things go." Jason's pulse quickened. There was something liberating in her honesty. "I'd like that," he replied, relief washing over him. "Let's rediscover each other, without forgetting the lessons we've learned." And in the glow of the cosmic horizon, Jason and Emma found themselves at the threshold of a new beginning, a chapter that had the potential to breathe life into possibilities, identities, and dreams long forgotten. It was just the start, but perhaps the most beautiful moments were woven into uncertainty, clamoring for exploration. They took each other's hands, unfurling the promise of tomorrow, ready to embrace whatever the universe had in store. Chapter 7. In Every Shade of Love. The weeks that followed were both exhilarating and challenging for Jason and Emma as they rekindled their connection cautiously, digging through the layers of past hurt while nurturing the burgeoning hope that had taken root. Their chemistry felt alive again, but this time it was tempered by awareness and clarity, each interaction colored with intention. They decided to engage in activities that honored both of their interests. Emma brought Jason to a local writing workshop, where she could immerse herself in the creative storytelling she loved, picking up her pen once more to craft tales that sparked joy. Inspired, Jason captured candid moments of her writing, framing the laughter and frustrations of the creative process through the lens of his camera. On weekends, they embarked on mini-adventures, exploring hidden gems around the city, art exhibits, music festivals, and quiet parks that invited them to breathe and dream. Each experience stitched another thread into the fabric of their evolving relationship, and though the lessons from their past lurked in the shadows, they gradually embraced the light seeping through. One sunny afternoon, sitting beneath a sprawling oak tree in a secluded park, they shared their hopes and fears, vulnerable pieces of themselves emerging like buds unfurling toward the sun. "What if I get hurt again?" Jason confessed, staring at the blades of grass bending in the breeze. "What if we don't get it right this time?" Emma turned to face him, her expression tender. "It's a risk to open ourselves to love again, but we can't let fear dictate our choices. We owe it to ourselves to try, to explore whatever this is, knowing we can redefine it when needed." "Redefine," he echoed, the word resonating within him. "That sounds healthy. It's not about fitting into the boxes we created before, but more about fluidity and growth." "Exactly," Emma smiled, her eyes sparkling with a warmth that melted the edges of his apprehensions. "It's just you and me, shaping it as we go along. Let's celebrate both our old selves and the new people we are becoming." As summer rolled on, their bond deepened. Their shared adventures transitioned from mere outings to intimate experiences that revealed their true colors, turning the ordinary into the extraordinary. Jason learned to appreciate Emma's creativity, even took to writing a few lines of shared poetry to capture those fleeting moments. "Let's make this a thing," he suggested one evening, scribbling down lines that danced off the page. "A collection of our experiences." Emma giggled. "It's a deal, but I want to add some sketches. Can we mix our art forms?" Their laughter echoed beneath the starlit sky, creating their own melody in the otherwise quiet night. As camaraderie blossomed, their subjects ranged from mundane musings to deep discussions about their visions, dreams, and the complexities of being human. They built a repository of memories that helped them navigate their vulnerabilities. Meanwhile, Mark remained a fleeting shadow, his messages becoming infrequent as he grappled with his own journey, but his name slipped from their conversations like sand through clenched fists, slowly dissipating into the past. Lydia, always a source of wisdom and support, noticed the changes in both of them. One day she met them for coffee, her eyes gleaming with a knowing glint. "It's beautiful to see the two of you radiate joy. You're taking brave steps, and that's incredibly commendable," she affirmed over the warmth of her cappuccino, fingers wrapped around the porcelain cup. Jason exchanged a glance with Emma, the shared pride between them unspoken yet evident. It was a victory for both their individual journeys and their collective strides. "Thank you, Lydia," Emma replied, a hint of vulnerability in her voice. "We're trying to be honest with ourselves and each other. It feels refreshing to shift away from hiding." As the months unfolded, their lives took on a rhythm, highlighted by creative endeavors, thoughtful conversations, and the sacred trust they had cultivated. That autonomy, infused with affection, provided a backdrop for the potential that lay ahead. Then came a day bathed in golden light when Jason could feel the shift deep within him. He found himself at the art exhibition where he had showcased his photographs, diligently working alongside Emma for months leading up to this moment. Their collection had culminated into a vibrant tapestry of shots and sketches, weaving their experiences and future hopes together. As he stood in front of a large canvas adorned with their work, like stars aligned in their personal cosmos, something within him emboldened. He had intertwined his art with Emma's, capturing not just visuals but stories and dreams shared. "We did this," he said softly, awe filling his heart. "It feels alive." Emma stood beside him, her breath hitching at the profound melding of their passions. "It's our story in every shade of love," she whispered, enigmatic and hopeful, tracing the edges of the photographs and sketches with her fingers. "Can we celebrate this?" he suggested suddenly, wanting to honor their triumph. "A little gathering with close friends and family." "I'd love that," she smiled, a radiant glow illuminating her spirit. They soon invited a handful of their trustworthy friends and gathered at Jason's apartment, its walls adorned with the fruits of their labor. As laughter and joy filled the space, Jason could not ignore the warmth radiating through the room, one where genuine joy abounded, unsullied by their pasts. At one point, while watching Emma passionately explain the story behind her favorite piece, he felt a swell of gratitude for the woman before him, not just for what they had crafted together but for the journey that had led them to this moment. Later that night, as everyone shared anecdotes and future aspirations, Jason pulled Emma aside onto the balcony. A gentle night breeze tugged lightly at her hair, and he turned to her with sincerity. "Emma, I need to tell you something. You've opened my heart again in ways I didn't think were possible after everything. Thank you for trusting me, for allowing space to redefine our relationship." Her gaze softened, and the world around them faded away as time ceased to exist. "And thank you for being patient," she replied. "This has taught me that love in its truest form involves growth and the ability to forgive, not just others but ourselves. I've realized how crucial it is to embrace authenticity." With her breath catching in her throat, she stepped forward, her heart bare, and Jason understood that they were moving into uncharted territory, a place where words could somehow capture the unspoken affection that trembled in the space between them. "Is it okay if I say that I want to explore this?" he hesitated. "Whatever we have. I want to dive deeper into this journey." Her smile seemed to illuminate the stars above. "I want that too," she whispered, the air thick with promise. "Let's keep nurturing this." That night, swathed in starlight, they took a step forward, their fingers entwined, not as an act of claiming or possession, but as a celebration of what love could truly be. A tapestry woven of vulnerability, artistry, and acceptance. Chapter 8. Tapestry of Tomorrow. A few months passed, each day reverberating with simplicity and depth for Jason and Emma. Together, they explored themes of trust and joy while nurturing the wisdom gleaned from their pasts. The threads of their lives intertwined seamlessly, creating a vibrant tapestry that bore the markings of both their individual journeys and the shared path they were constructing. The art collection they had created became a local sensation, drawing interest from various avenues: art enthusiasts, bloggers, and even local media. Their exhibit opened doors for budding collaborations, where they partnered with other artists to create mixed media experiences, exploring profound themes of healing and authenticity through their work. One enchanting September evening, while tending to some of their art supplies in the studio, Jason turned to Emma. I was thinking about what we've built together. It's been pure magic." Emma smiled, basking in the warmth of the moment. "Magic has its roots in reality, don't you think? We've embraced what we once let slip away." Watching her, Jason felt a surge of pride and gratitude. "I've rediscovered parts of myself through this. Who I am as an artist and as a person. You helped me see beyond the hurt." He moved closer, the air thick with newfound intimacy. "Let's create something larger together," he proposed gently, a flicker of hope igniting in his chest. "Art installations that represent our journey and invite others to share their stories, allowing them to engage with the healing process." "I love that idea," Emma exclaimed, her eyes bright. "Let's make it interactive. We could invite people to share their struggles and triumphs, capturing it all in visual artistry." Motivated by their shared vision, Jason and Emma began brainstorming plans for a large-scale exhibit, an immersive experience where attendees could engage through journaling, sharing stories, and contributing their artistic expression to a communal project. As they fleshed out the project, their days were filled with brainstorming sessions, laughter, and moments of tenderness. They spent quiet evenings sketching ideas and solidifying the details over cups of herbal tea, forging an organic rhythm that flowed between dreams and determination. However, amidst the luminous possibilities rested a shadow of old fears. As the project neared its launch date, Jason found himself wrestling with a familiar anxiety, the nagging voice that reminded him of the past, of betrayal, and of vulnerability. One late night, as the moonlight spilled into their studio, illuminating sketches and colorful notes scattered across the table, Jason looked at Emma. "What if everything crumbles again? What if we fail?" Emma paused, carefully placing her pencil down. "Failure is part of growth, Jason. Acknowledging our fears is part of the process. We've already taken a bold step in redefining our narrative together." Jason nodded, but uncertainty still tugged at the edges of his consciousness. "You're right, but I fear being vulnerable again. It's like standing on a tightrope." With understanding, Emma moved beside him, her presence steady. "We're not alone on that tightrope, remember? I'm right here with you." She reached for his hand, intertwining their fingers. "Let's embrace this together, every step we take. Honoring each other's growth, our art, and the love we're cultivating again. It's all part of the journey, remember." Her words, filled with warmth and compassion, began to melt away Jason's hesitations. He drew in a deep breath, feeling the strength in her grasp as it solidified his resolve. "I want to do this with you." That night, beneath the soft glow of their shared space, they leaned into their dreams, dreaming of impact, connection, and allowing others to embrace their own paths toward healing through art. As the weeks slipped by, the day of the exhibit finally arrived. Friends, family, and strangers gathered, an eclectic mix of souls converging in search of inspiration and connection. The installation was a symphony of emotions. Interactive sculptures invited guests to write their stories, while photographs captured the beauty of shared laughter, love, and heartache. As the event kicked off, Jason stood beside Emma, hearts racing in tandem. The energy in the room ebbed and flowed, mingling with tales that echoed the universal quest for love and acceptance. The exhibit drew attention, uniting voices through shared experiences. Attendees began creating their pieces, merging their stories into a collective tapestry. Jason felt a familiar thrill swelling within him, the same one he felt when capturing moments behind the lens. People began actively participating, adding words, sketches and notes of hope as they engaged within the community space. Laughter and tears melded together as shared stories of resilience illuminated the room, affirming that healing could be found even amidst pain. As the night unfurled, Jason caught sight of Emma. She was surrounded by newcomers, passionately engaging them in conversation. Her spirit radiant, alive with purpose. The sight sparked something within him. She had risen beyond her past struggles, embodying the essence of hope forged from authenticity. The evening unfurled into a beautiful, chaotic celebration of life, and as the final moments approached, Jason pulled Emma aside, away from the thrumming energy surrounding them. "What you've created here tonight is incredible," he told her, awe palpable in his tone. "You've empowered so many people to share their stories." Emma grinned, exhilaration coursing through her. "I couldn't have done this without you. This is our creation, our vulnerability resonating with all these beautiful souls." Standing together, they embraced the warmth of the evening. Their love, a quiet embers of understanding and hope that would continue to flourish in every new chapter ahead. Jason knew they would face challenges ahead, but with each passing moment of connection and authenticity, their resilience grew stronger. They were not just two individuals navigating a landscape of choice. Together they formed a collective tapestry, rich with every shade of love. Chapter 9. Facing the horizon. Winter crept into the city, casting a quiet hush over the streets as the world surrendered to the season's embrace. The air was crisp and the nights grew longer, inviting moments of introspection. As Emma and Jason settled into the routine of their collaborative workshops, they reflected on everything they had accomplished and the journey still unfolding. Their first large-scale event, born from the threads of creativity and vulnerability, had grown into a community initiative. Artists of various disciplines collaborated monthly, weaving their unique talents into the fabric of shared experiences. The workshops had attracted individuals from all walks of life, each adding their own unique hue to the colorful tapestry. But beneath the successes lived an underlying tension within Jason, a fear that the deeper emotional wounds he had long buried would surface again. The nature of their work often echoed with vulnerability, and while the atmosphere felt alive with connection, Jason couldn't help but worry about being exposed. One evening, nestled in the warmth of their shared studio, Emma sensed something stirring within him. As they sat side by side reviewing submissions for their next art showcase, she turned to him, her brow furrowed with gentle concern. "You seem distant. Is everything okay?" Jason paused, his heart pounding. "I think I'm struggling with something, Emma," he admitted, his voice barely a whisper. "I love what we're doing, but there's a part of me that's afraid. Afraid that if I dig too deep, what if I unearth pain I'm not ready to face?" Emma moved closer, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "It's okay to feel that way. Our work invites raw truths, and it's natural to feel apprehensive about facing your own. But remember, we're in this together. You don't have to navigate it alone." He sighed, running his fingers through his hair, feeling the weight of his vulnerability. "I want to be fully present for this community. I want to support others without feeling shaky beneath the surface." Emma took a moment, contemplating her words carefully. "What if we work on this together? Create an exercise focused on personal reflections. We can both participate and invite everyone to share their journeys too. It can be a safe space for everyone, including us." Jason shifted, considering her proposition. "You mean like a guided reflection workshop?" "Exactly. That way we can create an atmosphere of trust. Everyone could share their stories, and through that we might find healing ourselves." A flicker of hope ignited within Jason at the idea of shared vulnerability. Perhaps facing the horizon together would prepare him to embrace his truths without fear. "Okay, let's do it. I'm willing to try, if we can approach this as a team." As they brainstormed their new concept, excitement began to build. The theme of the next workshop blossomed into Facing the Horizon, a night dedicated to exploring personal growth, healing, and the unknown challenges that lay ahead. That night, as the thought of their upcoming workshop lingered in the air, they both found strength in the idea of shared introspection. The opportunity to explore their fears felt tangible, and within that, there was the promise of deepened connection, not just with their participants but with one another. Over the following weeks, they poured their hearts into the workshop, creating a safe environment where attendees could express themselves freely. The event drew near, and they felt eager anticipation coursing through them, punctuated by the undercurrents of anxiety Jason had been grappling with. The night finally arrived, and as people began to gather, the studio buzzed with energy. Soft music played in the background, and the walls adorned with vibrant artwork exuded warmth. Jason set up a comfortable circle of cushions, while Emma arranged supplies for participants to reflect on their thoughts. As they welcomed everyone, the atmosphere bristled with hope and curiosity. Although several attendees had walked through the door with apprehensions of their own, they soon found comfort in the camaraderie of shared experiences. As the workshop unfolded, Jason gently guided participants through the reflection assignments, encouraging them to explore dreams and fears. With each prompt, he felt his own defenses begin to dissolve, allowing the weight of unspoken emotions to surface. Once the initial exercises concluded, Emma took over, introducing an opportunity for everyone to share in a safe space. The stories began to flow, some filled with sorrow, others with resilience and hope. Each tale pried open hidden emotions, echoing the battles waged internally as each person embraced shared humanity. As they rotated through the circle, Jason was astonished to realize how deeply the stories resonated with him. With each narrative shared, he felt more connected not only to the participants but also to Emma, who reciprocated the expression of vulnerability with grace. Then it was his turn. Jason took a deep breath, locking eyes with Emma for courage. "I've hidden away the fear that I wasn't enough," he admitted, feeling the words pour from his heart. "There have been moments when I felt the walls closing in, afraid of exposing myself, and I thought I could avoid it. But in trying to help others heal, I've realized I need to face my own shadows." The room was silent, the weight of his confession settling in like a soft blanket. Without hesitation, Emma reached out, intertwining her fingers with his, an anchor of support. "We're here with you," she said softly. In that moment, Jason felt the embrace of understanding envelop him, a collective reassurance that they were all in this journey together. He felt lighter, the act of sharing easing the burden he had carried for so long. Within the circle, others reciprocated his honesty, and more stories unfurled, voices interwoven in a beautifully chaotic symphony of truth. The space became charged with empathy, like each shared moment served as an unspoken agreement to face the horizon together. By the end of the evening, a warmth lingered in the studio, a recognition that they had established something profound. Jason, glancing toward Emma, felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude wash over him. "We did it," he murmured, awe reflected in his eyes. "We faced a part of ourselves that was daunting but needed to be expressed," Emma replied, beaming with pride. "This is just the beginning." In the weeks that followed, the impact of facing the horizon resonated within the community. People returned, but this time not just to create art, to forge connections, to nurture growth, and to embrace the shadows with courage. The workshop became a monthly focal point that built upon the theme of collective vulnerability, a testament to the power of shared experiences in shaping identities anew. Jason felt renewed by the sense of purpose that surged through their efforts, an invigorating force that propelled him forward. Chapter 10: Blossoms of Change. As spring swept through the city, it breathed life back into the streets, filling the air with the scent of blooming flowers and the vibrant hum of renewal. The world outside mirrored the changes unfolding within Jason and Emma. Each day, they felt more aligned in their shared mission and personal journeys. Their partnership had evolved into a beautiful amalgamation of love, support, and creativity. With each workshop they hosted, the community continued to grow, new faces mingling with familiar ones. The Facing the Horizon series flourished, drawing more participants eager to explore their own vulnerabilities. Together, they cultivated a garden of stories where every shared experience bloomed brightly, fostering resilience and connection. One evening, after a particularly moving session where participants had embraced their fears and shared hopes for the future, Jason and Emma sat together on the studio floor, surrounded by colorful artworks that told a myriad of stories. Emma glanced at him, her expression radiant. "I feel so grateful for this space we have created together. It's incredible to witness people transform through art and vulnerability," Jason replied, his heart swelling with joy. "I never imagined I could find healing in helping others." Emma turned to him, her gaze steady. "But you've done more than help. You've inspired others by allowing them to see that healing is possible. Your honesty has opened so many doors, including your own." A familiar warmth fluttered in Jason's chest. He reflected on how far they had come, from grappling with their own fears to now standing together as advocates of healing and truth. They had built not only a community but also a space where authenticity thrived. Yet amidst all this beauty, Jason felt a next step looming ahead, an opportunity entwined with excitement and unease. "Emma," he began hesitantly, "what if we took this beyond the city? What if we expanded our workshops to other places? Help people heal on a wider scale?" Her eyes widened, inspired by the idea. "Are you suggesting a traveling workshop? That could connect us with so many more individuals yearning for this kind of space." Jason nodded. "Imagine setting up pop-up sessions in different cities. We could partner with local art organizations to reach diverse communities. The possibilities are endless." Emma smiled, her excitement evident. "Let's make a plan. We can create a roadmap for our vision, outlining how to reach out to other communities and what themes we want to explore." Over the next few weeks, they dived into planning, fueled by the passion that coursed through them. Each brainstorming session opened a new horizon of possibility. Creative workshops, art exhibitions, community partnerships, all culminating in a vision to ripple across cities, sparking conversations that honored individual stories. As they fleshed out their plans, Emma and Jason borrowed elements from their own journey, incorporating themes like self-acceptance, resilience, and community building. They aimed to create environments that foster connection while celebrating diversity through art, encouraging participants to find strength in each other's voices. Finally prepared, Jason and Emma organized a launch gathering to unveil their initiative. Inviting their community, they shared their vision of a traveling workshop, and excitement filled the air as the audience responded enthusiastically. "So, what's next?" someone called out, wide-eyed with intrigue. Emma smiled, looking at Jason, then addressing the crowd. "We're looking to start our first traveling workshop in a few months. We'll keep you all updated, but we want this to be a collective effort. If you know of potential spaces or connections in other cities, we'd love your help." The audience buzzed with energy. Some offered suggestions, while others volunteered to help connect. In that moment, Jason felt an overwhelming sense of belonging, a shared commitment to moving forward, side by side, united in purpose. As the sun dipped low in the sky, casting a warm glow around the studio, Jason and Emma exchanged glances filled with gratitude. Their hearts brimmed with hope, excitement, and the knowledge that they were stepping into the next chapter, not alone, but hand in hand with a community that had uplifted them. Months passed, and they embarked on their first traveling workshop in a nearby city. As they navigated through unfamiliar streets, Jason felt invigorated and terrified all at once. Emma squeezed his hand reassuringly. "We've got this. Remember, we're bringing our community with us." Their arrival was met with a vibrant group of eager participants, some skeptical, others hopeful, but all searching for connection. Jason's heart raced as he addressed the participants, relaying their vision of building a safe space through creativity and shared experiences. As he watched individuals from different backgrounds connect over their stories, he felt an undeniable warmth blossom within him, a recognition of the universal nature of struggle and healing. Each voice echoed the importance of the tapestry they were weaving, the power of community, and the beauty of vulnerability. The more they traveled, the more they connected. Each new city enveloped them like a cherished friend, offering stories that resonated and struggles that echoed their own. They met individuals who breathed life into their mission, becoming ambassadors for shared authenticity. Months turned into a year, and the initiative grew exponentially. Jason and Emma curated workshops around the globe, continuously inviting people to explore their narratives through art. Each experience marked a new thread woven into their tapestry, a living testament to the human spirit's resilience. Yet, amidst the laughter, healing, and connection, Jason found moments of stillness where he could reflect on both the personal and professional growth he had experienced. He started journaling again, allowing his thoughts and fears to spill onto the pages, unveiling parts of himself he had long kept hidden. One evening, as they sat under a brilliant tapestry of stars on a retreat in a quiet coastal town, Jason turned to Emma with a contemplative gaze. "I feel like we've not only transformed communities but also ourselves. I'm more whole now than I've ever been." Emma smiled softly, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "We embraced our vulnerabilities and opened ourselves to each other, to new experiences and to growth. That's the power of connection." As Jason recalled their journey, the pain, the healing, the shared stories, he felt unburdened. "This journey of ours has shown me that even in uncertainty, beauty can thrive. We've learned to rise together, and for that, I am endlessly grateful." She leaned close, her voice barely a whisper. "And I'm grateful for you, Jason. You've shown me the depths of love and partnership, encouraging me to explore beyond what I thought was possible." In that moment, surrounded by the vastness of the universe, Jason realized they had not only forged a beautiful partnership but had also created an enduring legacy, an invitation for others to heal, grow, and discover connection through the language of art and shared stories. And thus, their journey continued, an ever-unfolding story of resilience, love, and the courage to dream, reminding all they touched that healing is a lifelong journey best traveled together. End.